Hello, everybody. Welcome to the third session of the Redacted Online Hackathon AMA session. All right, we're here today with Cameron Dennis, a Near contributor who's been around the Near ecosystem for a long time, and Joe from Near Dev Hub. If you guys want, I think we could just jump in, or actually say hello, introduce yourselves, and then I'll jump into some housekeeping. Cameron,
sure.
Joe,
Cameron, go ahead. No, Cameron, go ahead. I'm on all the time.
Okay. Yeah. My name is Cameron Dennis. I've been building a Near for almost 4 years now. I've been in crypto for about 7 or 8, and I'm dedicated to the open web because I don't think that the world is inherently broken. I think that the incentive systems that power it are broken, and money is the incentive that runs the world. And this is the first time in history we can program money. And so we can program incentives to hopefully make the world a better place. And the industries that need programmable money the most, in my eyes right now, where incentives are most broken, is around AI, and which is why I'm currently working, collaborating a lot with the Near Foundation product team on creating this thing called the Near AI Hub, which is an interactive aggregator of all the AI projects building in the Near ecosystem. So we have a one-stop shop to kind of access anything that AI builders, founders, and researchers need. So I'll dive more into it in a bit, but Joe, I'd love to hear your intro.
Yeah, I'm Joe. I've also been in Near for a while before I joined Near Dev Hub. Near Dev Hub is all about actually the developer ecosystem. We provide developer support throughout the different channels. If you've ever been through our Telegram or Discord, we also support all the tooling and SDKs that you can build with on Near. So we do a little bit of everything else. We do some content. We have our own set of shows and live streams and all that other fun stuff to learn how to be a better dev.
Awesome, Joe. And all right, so I'll do a little bit of housekeeping. So first, I want to just point to everyone. So Dev Hub, after today, tomorrow, there's going to be a working session with the team. We've got Bitta doing that, right, Joe? Or
yes,
that's who we got tomorrow.
Yes.
And so make sure you check out. It's kind of, AMAs today, Thursdays is Dev Hub. Get really technical on that. And just a little what is some of the high level info for the Redacted Online Hackathon. So first things first, I'll pull up a little slide here. It has started, right? The kickoff has started September 5th, but that just means it's starting. You can start submitting projects September 25th, and then the final submissions are October 25th. Now you can start building anytime in between there. And as Cameron talks about more, you'll understand with AI agent bounties and stuff like that, they might only take a couple days to put something together, which is really cool. Or you can spend the whole time larger projects. We're almost at 700 devs signed up right now, and teams are starting to be built. And the judging will be from October 25th to November 8th, which will then be announced at the Redacted IRL movement that happens in Bangkok, November 9th through 11th. Important thing, you do not need to go to the IRL event to be part of the online hackathon. So there's the online hackathon, and then as a bonus, as for fun, at the IRL event, there'll be some bonus bounties and stuff like that, some hacking stuff on site, but they're separate. And that's the housekeeping, guys. So let's jump into, I'm going to start with the first question to you, Cameron. All right. You want to build, you're building with Near, and you want to somehow start with AI. This whole Near AI. Where do you begin? Where do you start?
Well, start by solving a problem for somebody is the first goal. And if you are, depends on what type of AI you're really looking to build. I would normally default to things that have to do with Web3. So DeFi is a relatively straightforward one. Within DeFi, there's a lot that you can do because, historically, agents cannot go create a bank account at Wells Fargo or Chase Bank, but they can spin up and manage a crypto wallet pretty easily. And so managing money, trading, building tools to, ensure security, for DeFi transactions, I think this is a huge open market that I have seen and will, I think, continue to see more players come up. Because right now, in order to make real money in DeFi, you pretty much need a background in finance and to manage your permanent loss properly, to manage over collateralization ratios. Let's say Near dumps or a token. I've been in crypto long enough where I've seen 80% drops in a day. God forbid I have a position in protocol like Burrow, and I get liquidated. I would love agents to help me manage my positions in a secure way, of course. And so I do think agents are going to provide a really, really great way to democratize access to DeFi, as long as they're safe and trustworthy. And so there's a whole like evergreen space to build in that world. And the other like types of verticals that I'm seeing pop up around the commodities of AI. I think of this like as all compute, all data, and those two things are, multi-trillion-dollar industries probably over time. And so within the compute markets, a lot of people are tokenizing compute, creating derivatives from these tokenized compute, data is again a whole nother thing where you have data monetization networks, data labeling networks, data pipelines. The AI agents need data. And so where's this data coming from? It needs to be cleaned properly. So to be honest, I kind of see AI as like a whole stack of different technology that we're going to need to kind of address piece by piece. And this is why we're building this interactive hub. It's because it's really confusing. And so when you say build AI, it's a can of worms to unpack. And so I hope that provides some clarity, but obviously there's more to talk about.
Yeah, totally. Joe, if you want to jump in on this, I'm just going to say the recap that I got is like, so basically data, compute. Those are like the two super important things of AI. And then you've got all sorts of creating an agent, benchmarking, stuff like that. So Joe, if you want to jump in and.
Well, actually, before Joe goes, I'm so sorry. We got the commodities, compute, data, and we have like the agent frameworks, which I think of just all the tooling, all the middleware. And that's where people can build better tools to build better agents. And then we have the agents themselves that are pretty much built within the frameworks using the tools. And so if you're trying to build AI, figure out where you want to be in that stack. You want to build for end users, build agents. You want to build dev tools, fantastic. You want to build infrastructure, do that. But different things require different subject matter expertise.
Yeah, no, I like that opening statement a lot, because I think AI, when the initial concept of AI becomes intimidating for a lot of people, right? And I think when most of the time when you talk to even, I would say, experienced devs, they say, I can't do AI because I don't know how to program a model. I don't know how to, right? I don't know neural networks. I haven't done machine learning. And so they feel like that it's away from them. But like, as you just stated, it's so much more that goes into the larger AI picture than just programming models. So let's kind of jump in a little bit. And so from a hackathon perspective here, where would you suggest someone just kind of starts? If like, is it finding that category first for them? Is that where you would suggest, like when you're having conversations with devs, like, is it figure out like what category do I best fit in?
It's a great question. And let me also be clear. I'm generally talking to founders who already know what they want to build.
Right.
And I'm kind of walking them through their journey. So I'm not speaking to as many kind of early developers in the space. If I were to, I would say, well, go to Redacted's dev post page and check out the bounties. And because all these different people who are listing bounties, are solving different parts of the stack. So I would start there, look at all these different parts of the stack. If you're interested in building agents, check out the Bita agent, AI agent plugin bounty that, I think they have over $15,000 to create these agents that plug into their wallet. So you're essentially getting access to all their distribution really quickly. If you're trying to do something like a token staking agent. What I mean by that is you type into the text box saying, hey, agent, I would like to stake 5 near, and then transaction thing pops up. And then if you are really trying to better understand how key management works as well, like you're going to have to figure that out through Near's account model. And Near Docs describes all of this, at least not the AI component, but like how to manage access keys. And so that's if you want to build like kind of consumer facing agents. Potluck provides a really great set of bounties and a really good ideas. Honestly, that's where I would recommend people to check out the most at first, at least. They've done a really good job speccing out all these really cool ideas on how to better fund public goods with agents. And so I can just drop a link in this chat if that's helpful. So more ideas on that front. Again, this is all like on the agent builder side of things. If you're interested in like, different like data pipelines, Zeta Blocks is a fantastic company and product. And so using their data sets is a great place to start, depending on what kind of agents you're looking to build. They have a lot of really accurate blockchain data, as well as some super solid like fraud detection models. So again, if you're interested in like DeFi security or anything like that, like check out the ZetaBlocks bounty. Questflow, again, I'm more on the agent side of things. And the reason why agents are easier to build in hackathons is because you don't need to stand up giant compute networks and data labeling networks. It's like a huge lift that's pretty much only done by companies that have a lot of resources. But Questflow is an agent orchestration layer. So if you want to get one agent to connect with another agent to do another thing, like that's a perfect platform to work with. And so they have $2,000 dedicated to in USDT for the best agents that can plug into other agents within their network. And these are Web2 agents. Not everything needs to just be interacting with, the blockchain. It doesn't really make sense a lot of the times. So if you want to, let's say, have your agent buy a plane ticket with USDC, like how would you actually do that? Well, you're going to need USDC to have your wallet connect to some sort of off-ramping agent that then actually like goes and off-ramps your money into some sort of bank account, and then some sort of like bank ID. Actually, banks are tough. I don't think you will be able to do this really easily, but this is why this hackathon exists, is to experiment with this, to then go buy that plane ticket just with your agents. And these agents are going to have to talk to each other. And so that's Questflow. I can go on and on. Valerie and Olas network is super cool. They have like a lot of neat prediction market agents, essentially trying to guess the future of certain decisions. In the real world, I know Polymarket's gotten really popular. Definitely check that out. They have a whole agent development framework. They have amazing education materials. Honestly, that's probably where I'd start first if you're like looking to learn how to build. Olas, I'm just going to pull it up real quick. Yeah, really, really good, like hands-on example apps and everything to start building agents. So that's a good place to start. It's called Olas Academy. I'll drop a link here in the chat. They have podcasts. They have pretty much everything. I mean, there's just so much stuff to do, frankly. But I'm happy to dive into more of these things if you want.
No, I think this is, I love the whole way that, first off, these are coming on in different areas. It's really highlighting, again, how much goes into AI. And the part that like we've been trying to stress in other events, whether it's through some of our DevHub streams, which actually we had Pollock on talking about, we had Plug come on and talk about, really what actually, public good funding AIs can look like. We actually broke down some of the ideas. So go back and check out the DevHub Live episode. Really explains a lot of that. But in general, I think from a hackathon perspective, what, again, we said last time on this episode, but I'll say again here, you have so much time. You have like almost 6 weeks here now and like 5 more weeks, right? Something like that. Maybe more than that, I guess. 6 more weeks. And like, take that time, like try some stuff, really dig into it, and like come and ask questions. Because the beauty of a project sponsoring a bounty is that you have somebody clear cut to go talk to and ask questions to. And I really encourage developers to go do that. Don't just be in the dark of all that stuff. Let's go a little bit further into it and just kind of talk about some of the process that you are, when you're having conversation with these projects and they're starting to build on blockchain. Okay, so we'll leave the concept of near outside, but just blockchain in general. Where is that discussion coming from? Is it mostly around the financial piece, the account, the data? Where do you see a lot of that conversation go?
Yeah, it's primarily around incentives. And so, money incentivizes people to do things. It's kind of what, made Bitcoin work, is solving the double spend problem by paying miners. And so I think that this is like the whole point of crypto. Obviously, blockchains are really good for ensuring data is immutable and, there forever. But overall, I would say most of these projects are leveraging crypto in some way to incentivize certain behavior, whether that is to get people to build more agents or for people to get paid to, I mean, that's another use case, but is using money to incentivize people to label data like public AI. that is super clear. I don't know if the audience knows, but like this is actually the reason why Near got built. Like Near got built originally. Like the protocol was a side project of a side project of a side project, quite frankly, to pay people around the world to label data to train large language models. And it needed to be easy to use. It needed to scale. It needed to be, you know, browser native, so WebAssembly based. And so now we have all these other companies that are now doing this. And this was back in 2017, 2018, which is when the idea really kind of came to fruition. And so, yeah, like we're seeing more of this. So people are using crypto to pay people. And then also you need to verify somehow that the data that you're getting back is actually useful. And so there's a lot of game theory involved where money is a fantastic tool for someone to stake a certain amount of Near or whatever asset in order to, if they do provide faulty data, they get slashed. And that type of incentive mechanism wasn't really possible without crypto. And so being really creative around game theory and incentive systems, honestly, is I think the superpower of crypto. So yeah, I would say a lot of it's primarily around incentives. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of, to me, the whole gist.
Yeah, no, that's great. And one of the things that we've been trying to encourage too, as you know, and from even DevHub's perspective, as we go towards more Web 2 type developers, it's not just about finding crypto natives. The part of that we try to instill is that you don't have to bring in the whole blockchain stack into your project right away. Sometimes it's taking a piece of that, whether again it is the financial incentive piece, whether it's the account model, pieces like that. Just from a larger, I guess, from your own larger experience, not just on AI, but is that something where, again, just from your own experience, where that transition probably makes more sense for people instead of always trying to shove everything in? I'm afraid that developers sometimes get overwhelmed and intimidated by, I got to go full Web3, right? Like, but so it's not always that way.
Correct. It's more about verifiability. It's about verifiability and transparency. And transparency is just a sort of feature of verifiability in my eyes. And so, yeah, I mean, this is where you do not, and you should not, store everything on chain. It is expensive. It is slow. It's not ideal. You can post a hash to something that can be validated on chain, but all the actual data sits off chain. And so this is where like you might not want all the agent logic inside of a smart contract. Like that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like you're not going to do that. You're not going to train LLMs on chain. Doesn't make sense. Or people are trying to incentivize people to run GPUs in order to kind of crowdsource, training or inference for calling AI, but it's sometimes we still need a lot of improvements, to be totally honest. Again, that's just incentives. It's really for payments. For putting everything else on chain, I actually recommend people to put as little on chain as possible to cut costs and make it simple. Because also, let me be clear here, like a lot of these AI developers don't love crypto. They just they're starting to see the benefit of agent payments in a permissionless way. Again, it's about incentives. It's about like, okay, if one agent needs to pay an agent for something else, like they're not going to be using Swift and, even Stripe for that matter. They're going to be using crypto. It's much more permissionless. It's much faster. It's just more straightforward. So I definitely see that there's going to be, in terms of what goes on chain, is pretty much just payments and like attestations for verifiability.
Yep. And so the term that we hear a lot here in Near is user owned, X, right? So user owned data, whatever. How does that narrative fit into everything else?
Yeah. So user owned, in my eyes, is more about edge models and local development or local models. So in a perfect world, and you're going to take some time to get there, but everyone should just have everything on their phone pretty much like air gapped, and you have your model pretty much at birth that is being trained on all of your personal data instead of everything being sent to the cloud. And that should frankly not leave your phone unless you provide very, very clear sort of like confirmation that it should. And if we have super intelligence run the world, which I'm actually seeing this become more and more reality every day, we need a way to verify our money, data, and governance, i.e. our digital sovereignty. If someone can very rapidly just like create a fake version of Joe, or society can, like the social fabric of society can be at risk if we don't own our money, data, and governance, own a world controlled by superintelligence. Like this actually scares me. So I'd say user owned is less about everything on chain, because that's public, and everything that you own, you do not want public. It's actually about having it be local on your phone or your desktop or your laptop, with certain verifiable credentials or attestations that can be checked on chain.
Yeah, great synopsis there, where the part of the verification on chain is really probably the more important piece out of all of this. Then, right, like, again, it's not about, definitely don't put your stuff on data, definitely don't put your personal stuff on the chain, because there is something where, again, if you're newer to crypto and building here, it's an important distinction that even though there is cryptography being used here, your data is not encrypted. And so, like, if you can just go on chain and see what's happening. So that's where, again, it is about using the different parts of the chain as a tool as you're trying to build out your project and thinking about what that is. Yeah, do you have a question you want to jump in before, as I see you thinking up there?
Yeah, so I'm reading some stuff on here, right? Also, I'm trying to get socials out. So if you guys notice, I'm like diving in and trying to make sure people can, part of my gig. But so here's what I'm wondering. So there's able to stack bounties, right? Like this whole redacted hackathon, we can stack bounties. So you could be building some sort of project, like heavily using like the near awesome account structure, right? You can be building something with that. Then you could also stack an AI bounty on top of that. When you think about those kind of things, Cameron, do you think that's like how it works? Like you can just sort of be like, okay, we want to create a project, and then within that project have an AI agent, which is kind of like an API, I'm guessing, and just build something that can get the data for a project very easily or something like that.
Oh my God, yeah. So, I mean, I have this little graph of like where Near has been and where it's going.
Okay.
I can send it to you if you want to pull it up real quick.
Dude, send me that graph right now. Put it in Telegram. I'll share it, or send it to, either way.
I mean, what's the best way to do this? So pretty much it starts with like, we needed to build a protocol that can handle real demand. Like that is step one. We cannot have a CryptoKitties moment where we promise the open web and then all of a sudden we need L2s. Like that's just not, it's no bueno. So then the second piece is we need to make sure we check that box. We generally have here, it's actually like my entire deck. So I could just send you this to you.
Oh, it's your title. If you want to share your screen, I can just give you access and you can share and control yourself.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Actually, I can do it right here. So
there you go. Cameron, let me know when you want me to bring it up.
All right, yeah, you bring it up. So yeah, the TLDR is, we need to prove that we can actually handle real demand. So we started working with a lot of Web2 organizations that really benefit from Web3, making a historically illiquid asset more liquid, like Sweatcoin, where your sweat coins were only exchangeable for yoga pants and shoes, but now you can turn it into USDC and off-ramp it. Or, Kaikai, which is loyalty programs where they just wanted to actually have a fast settlement layer that's, cheaper than what they were previously using. And that's why Near is great. It was save them money. Telegram wallet. It's because Near is WebAssembly based and we have an amazing account model that allows you to create wallets and actually store private keys locally on your phone. That's incredible. So use blockchains to engage your users. So we checked this box. This is a little old, so bear with me here. But when I did take the screenshot on July 9th, Near had 10.96 million weekly active users. This was pretty much our goal to prove that the L1 can handle real demand. Shard the network, ensure state is going to be cheap, the blockchain is fast. But really, if we want to get to mass adoption, we need chain abstraction. We need, so you as a user shouldn't have to have an AWS account to go use Snapchat, or an Azure account to go to the 7-Eleven up the street and buy a candy bar. Like that's never going to work. So we need it so you don't have to care what blockchain your favorite application is deployed to. You just use an application. And so this is a whole stack, which is why people get so confused in Web3. They're like, Near's doing everything. Like Near's trying to do DA, Near's doing accounts, Near's doing decentralized front ends. I'm like, well, yeah, because this is all the different parts of chain abstraction in order to make it invisible. So you don't have to care about using a blockchain. Because currently, like I used to teach, like I run a nonprofit. We start blockchain development courses at universities. And I would teach a course to seniors in computer science at some top tier schools like UCLA and UC Santa Barbara, where seniors in computer science will lose their keys in the same workshop. Like if they can't manage their keys in the same workshop, like this industry is cooked. Right. So how do we actually, move beyond this? And it's through this. The one thing to answer your question, Jared, like super clearly, is use chain signatures to build multi-chain agents where you don't need to, your agent's not going to care what blockchain it's deployed to. It's a freaking agent. All they care about is going where liquidity is and where users are. So enable chain signatures for your agent to sign transactions across any chain. And now you're opening up huge opportunities for your users. And quite frankly, if you do this successfully, you can probably go raise money and like build a formal company around this. Like chain signatures is so new, and I'll drop this GitHub repo in the chat just so people can have it. But this is really cool. It's essentially, for those who might not know, it's a programmable MPC network for when you create a Near account, you'll simultaneously create accounts across all these other blockchains that support the same cryptographic signatures, ECDSA to be specific. There's a few others, I believe. And you're able to sign transactions on these other accounts with one wallet, instead of having to spin up another wallet on another chain with another seed phrase and a whole nother thing. And so now you hand this wallet to an agent, and now it's able to transact across all these networks. This is really cool. And so now we can finally, if we check the chain abstraction box, focus on the thing that Near got built to begin with, which is user-owned AI and user-owned internet. So hopefully, Jared, to simply answer your question, is use chain signatures to build AI agents. Chain abstracted agent.
Dude, that's the line of this. Dude, use chain signatures to create multi-chain AI agents. That's like, there you go. Like, that's like, what? Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's going to be the tweet from this freaking event or this AMA, man. So that's cool.
And you don't need to go support 111. I'm talking to one of these teams that's not building with chain signatures. They have to support 111 chains.
Right.
What the what the hell? Like what is going on? And like integrate one, support everything. It's super straightforward.
Yeah, I don't think people understand what it really actually starts to unlock to of when you start to build that way, because when everything is controlled through this initial account on Near, and now you can start to go to all these other chains, you can really pretty much start writing your code once, be able to have it everywhere, and actually bring in not just the liquidity, but users. And you're simplifying all of that. Because like you said, the user experience really at the end of the day has to be seamless. And they do not care, for the most part, besides the people who are already here and who are maxis or whatever else. Forget those people. Everyone else, the regular users, do not care where things are located, how it's done. It just has to work. It's the same as we use any other software today. And so this really unlocks so many opportunities because you're not reliant on something being built just here on Near. There are some chains that are doing certain things maybe better or different, and you can unlock and use all of that within your product all the same way.
All right, let me jump in on I'm a non, so for people listening, like I do a lot of content and marketing and stuff, and Joe and I have worked together, and I've known Cameron, so I'm not highly dev technical by any means. I mean, Joe, you have been very kind at some of the questions I've asked you, and you've answered them, and so I do appreciate it.
Sprinkle API on it.
Yeah, so sprinkle an API. I'm always like, can't we just like sprinkle some AI on that? And he'll be like, no, that's not how it works. But here's my question from a dev point of view. When you build on Near, and you build using chain signatures, and you're leveraging some more of the like tech stack that is Near, it can still work with other chains. Like you can still be building on other chains, but just leveraging the Near aspects. And then you don't have to like copy, paste, adjust for every single chain, right?
Right.
Is that
Right.
kind of like...
Yeah, I mean, look, let's say right now, like you are building on Polygon, you're building on some ETH L2, whatever else. I already have this stuff I already built. Put these contracts already else. But there is no other chain that has as great of an account model as Near, right? The account model here is second to none. And so when you think of, you say, okay, I really want to use Near's account model because I can do so much with that. I can really do, I want to have people sign up with their socials or whatever it might be. And now they can come in, they can do that, and you can still have all your stuff that you already built. Like you can now transition. Now you're leveraging all these different pieces of it. Yeah, so and it opens up like liquidity because I can go across multiple chains at once. And now the biggest one here, which we talked a lot about in the last AMA, is it unlocks Bitcoin to really actually be a chain that you can program against, right? A chain that does not have smart contracts there, but now you can actually build logic on top of it using chain signatures.
All right. That's awesome. And it basically seems like in all of Web3, you've got a lot of people incentivized to build in certain places. That's sort of like the game over the past few years. But as more builders come into the space, they're going to choose the most cost-effective and biggest audience they can reach with this, like the least amount of time. I think that's where this seems to make a lot of sense, because why wouldn't you? I mean, yeah, if you're a maxier, you're paid to be a maxier or something like that. But otherwise, Near seems to play really well with others.
You could still be a maxi to some degree, right? You could still say like, I really love ETH. I want to continue to do stuff there. But, I want the flexibility that as I hopefully scale, I can scale to the things. I can open up, I can unlock so much more in the future, just future planning, Like if you are a project and you are thinking about my roadmap and I say, how am I going to get from A to B to C? And I want to, and especially if I'm going to go try to raise money, I need to show how I'm going to grow. I need to show how I'm going to bring in bigger audiences. I mean, the part with chain signatures makes a ton of sense. And now you put the ability to build an AI agent on top of that. Like now you have this combo that really, again, I hate to keep using the word unlock, but like it does, like it opens up so many more doors for you as a builder.
That's cool. This episode is now turning into explain Near to a normie, Degen.
Yeah. Well, I love to. I have this one graphic that, to be clear, I did not make. I stole it from somebody, probably someone at Near Foundation, and it's, if you can see my slides, it's Near's like you have this option for modular or monolithic. You can only use, like, you can just pick to store blob data using like Near DA if you want, or as Joe has highlighted, you can just use chain signatures to access like Near's flexible account model. Or you can just store your JavaScript front end in a Near smart contract to decentralize it to ensure redundancy forever. Pay one time, front end stored forever on chain. That's really cool. But you can still have your contracts live on Polygon CKEVM or Arbitrum or wherever. And so this to me is like the whole point. We shouldn't have to care if your front end is stored on IPFS or Near, or your contracts are on Solana or Near. Like it just works. And so yeah, I just really love this graphic of like you have the option. You can just do everything on Near monolithic, or you have modular. So yeah, that's EVM awesome. Devs come through. The time has come.
Oh yeah, the EVM stuff's really cool. It's coming out in the next couple months too.
And this is sorry, I was saying this is maybe again more on the technical side of it, but I think it's important to highlight is that if you have been building software for a little while, like that, modular or monolithic thing comes from Web 2, right? Of like, how does everything structured for you? This is not a new concept. And again, when you are planning, you're in those planning stages. And now even for a hackathon, there are considerations where here you have more time, so you're going to probably build a little bit bigger of a project. You can start to think about, again, what solution makes more sense to you. You are not locked into a particular setup in order to achieve whatever you're going for. So it's really important that developers of any level, when they're making their project, really say, hey, I can actually consider all of these options when I'm working on Near that you maybe can't do when you're working just singularly on another chain. Sorry, Jay, I kind of cut you off there.
Oh, not at all, man. I'm just listen. I don't want to distract too much. Like this is. I want devs to really get a lot out of this, and so that's not at all. Cameron, do we want to dive into a couple other projects that are part of this AI and stuff like that? Like where does Masa with their data come in their socials? Like, right? Like in my mind, I want to create an LLM with my socials and then do cool things with that agent. Like, are we at this place yet where someone like can do that?
Yeah, straightforward. This is where like we're trying to make that whole process much easier through interactive aggregator, i.e. the hub. But right now you can go to Masa, you can, connect your socials. You can kind of like, I guess, I've not done this myself. So just to be clear, I have not done this, but I'm going through their docs right now, and you can click build quick start guide, make it all happen. And I think you would qualify. Yeah, this should qualify you, at least. If it doesn't, I will do what I can to change that for the AI track. And so if you don't see a bounty there that, asks you to use Masa's, data, then screw it, do it anyway, and apply for a different track.
Yeah, totally. What I'm wondering is, like, for the next few minutes, do we want to just bring up some of these projects, like, and look at like, so people know where they're going? Let's bring up the Masa website and let's just talk about it. Like, right? Like, they got interviewed, and I can help. Like, don't worry, I will be like putting all sorts of links in the follow up on this. But on the Near AI office hours, where Ilya and Alex talk to all these AI projects, it's where I've learned everything from AI. Like, I'm totally AI pilled, whatever that's called. I'm like, after 16 episodes of that, I'm like, oh shoot, AI is no joke, right? Yeah. And Masa was on there, one of our most viewed episodes. So, and it's all data. They got a big community. So, like, they're doing, they're going to be part of this, like, give some bounties. So they do data, right? Like, we can just spend like a minute on this. Like, Joe, what do you think? Like, developer guide, like.
Yeah, I mean, the place obviously to start for with devs, I think they're also most comfortable jumping into like the documentation and just kind of seeing what's there and getting a sense of what's possible. And as Cameron said, like, you can jump into this and see, does it fit into the category? And if not, again, this all can tie together because you can stack bounties and pull things in. Like, don't get discouraged, but I mean, as soon as you dive in and you start to see, like, here's the data network, and look, again, I mean, you don't have to be an AI developer. These are just standard REST APIs that I can call, and I'm off and running. And that's a really cool thing to just kind of dive into.
That's awesome. And then, so that's one of the projects, so people can go here and start getting some ideas. And another thing, we're going to be doing a deep dive, with all these projects coming on here, and they can like chat. So it's like good to start getting in that, and you're really going to start to get to like see who's running these projects. So you have that one. Do we want to do? We could pull up the Bitte Mintbase, right? How do you say it in German? Is it Bitte or Bitte? Do you guys know? I always go back. It's Bitte. Okay.
I don't speak German, but yes, I believe it's Bitte.
But I think it's like originated from that. So now you've got this whole team, right? So they're doing a lot of AI agents, right? So if you think they're almost kind of at like the top of funnel of agents as well, right? And so when I think of them, they've got like primitives and plugins, right? So they might have a plugin with like a Ref Finance, a Pikes Peak. It could be other things like cross chain, where it's like arbitrage bot and stuff. So I know that they're aiming for that. So you could, in theory, make a DeFi AI agent, right? That could use the Ref Finance plugin and do all sorts of things, right? Cameron, am I kind of thinking of this? How, because once I start thinking it that way, I don't know.
Yes, it's the whole idea is like composable kind of connect everything together. You don't have to build everything from scratch. It's like some of it's already there for you. Ultimately, at the end of the day, is to make user experience better. Like make it less complex for people to manage their positions in their pools. Make sure that they're not suffering from a permanent loss. And if they are, hey, there's a little like pop-up saying, you know, you're about to be liquidated, or, you know, not liquidated, but like you're losing money, like the spread is changing, like so maybe suggest putting more USDC in your pool or taking it out and backing out. Like there is a lot that needs to be built in order to make DeFi easier. Because I think I said earlier, like you borderline need a background in finance to make money in it. Well, and if you don't know it, if you don't know where the liquidity is coming from, you're the liquidity. And so this is something that I feel like DeFi agents can really help with. And these templates are a fantastic place to start. You don't need to build everything. You can just be only creating a template only to identify impermanent loss in draft pools.
Right.
And that's a hell of a hackathon project. Like you may win if you do that. If it solves a real problem for people. Yeah.
No, you're, I don't even know if you know you're doing it, but you're giving so many good like hackathon advice things here. Like it just every time you say something, I think of it like, and so I want to make sure we're highlighting it. But like, you don't have to code everything from scratch. Like that is not going to work for you. You don't get bonus prizes for coding everything by hand. So like take advantage of the stuff, because really what a hackathon is most of the time, but especially this one, is about productizing stuff in a way that like this is solving a problem. And so if solving a problem means I need some of this or from over here, I need a little bit of, this from BitDay, I'm going to pull in some data from Masa. I'm going to then also do some of my own code, and I'm going to pull everything together. And now I have this really cool thing. Like that's super powerful. And that's a more likely to be, like you said, get a prize than someone who just tries to code something from scratch. That there's no bonus points in that.
Yeah. And I think the BitDay thing, because we're going to be doing tomorrow, you're actually doing a workshop. It's called Teach Joe with the demo. We're going to have a lot of these projects actually come on, and they're going to teach you how to do these things. And hopefully people can make that. That'll be tomorrow at noon. Correct, Joe? You're at noon Eastern.
Yeah, 4 p.m. UTC, noon Eastern. Yep.
Yeah, that'll be huge. Because then it's like, the BitDay with the wallet connect. You could have a cool thing where you basically like you open a wallet, you type a prompt, then the agent runs, or then a runtime starts, an agent runs, and then it like can execute, right? Like you could do all sorts of cool things where that agent could trade on social stuff for fun. Like there's all sorts of things I'm starting to see. But so that's really cool. So should we go? Is there anything else you want to add here?
Yeah, pager.near every time Near Foundation or Near Protocol Twitter hits above X. Like you can do a lot.
How do we do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, everyone.
Or pull money.
Here's the wallets.
Pull money from bank accounts if it doesn't hit X. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like pretty cool. Like, but yeah, so that's the BitDay one, right? So let's look at some what else. So we've got so I think which one you want to look up now? Potluck?
Yeah, but I wanted to flag on BitDay because like what's really cool about working with them is they have distribution. If you build with them, you have access to users. If you're building something from scratch, you are SOL. You are shit out of luck. You need to go get your own users. Yep. You can work with these platforms that already have distribution. That's insane. Like that's not normal. Work with them. Like that. It's so straightforward. Yep. Your first 5 customers, if you're at a hackathon and you can actually get somebody to pay you for an agent by the time the hackathon ends. And by the way, you still have about 5 weeks. So like you have plenty of time. You have a much higher chance of winning compared to some person who built everything from scratch.
Yep.
Most might not even work in the demo, like build on top of other people's stuff because it's all open source. And that's kind of the point. And get real distribution. If you get customers, I can almost guarantee that you'll get prizes. Like it's not rocket science. There's very few people in general.
Yeah, and this team will help you. I mean, you'll have several people from the team help guide you on these things. It's like not like we just like, hey, come build and you're on your own. I mean, if you're leveraging one of these projects, they're absolutely going to help you. So that's sort of like, I think, the hack. If I were going to start that jump into a hackathon, that's where I would go.
Totally.
Awesome. So that's a bit tomorrow. Awesome. Teach Joe workshop with them. Let's roll. What about to
Valerie here? We can do that one.
Sure.
Let's jump into that. Here we go.
Yeah, Valerie's super cool.
It's this one, right?
Yeah, if you're building any sort of like DeFi agents, or honestly just looking to learn. So the company, so OLAS is the protocol. OLAS is the thing. So you'll be building on the OLAS protocol. Valerie is just an entity that supports the OLAS development and growth. And so with OLAS, you are able to essentially build agents that can trade and can trade on your behalf and do pretty much as complex trading as you would want. Now, the interesting thing about trading is that agent trading is not new. Hedge funds have been doing it for a very, very, very long time. There's a probably $1 trillion business built on bots trading. Now, the difference is that we are now able to do this with permissionless money much more easily, and kind of copy strategies, build on top of other strategies. It's pretty cool. Specifically around like, let's see, their prediction market protocol is extra cool. I know like Polymarket's getting a ton of attention recently. So how can you actually have an agent like maybe even guess what's going to happen based on certain inputs and like put money in and like bet on it? Now, it's interesting because to me, a little bit, it kind of, part of the benefit of these prediction markets is that like you're getting human sentiment, not just like agent sentiment. But if agent sentiment is actually pulling from a bunch of human sentiment, you're playing a different game. So I suggest playing around with it. And the best part about OLAS is they do have incredible education. So definitely check out that education. They have like entire tutorials, courses, great docs. Like they've done a killer job on that side. So
tons of stuff here.
Joe, you can say that?
There's a whole academy of videos here and what it means. I mean, they really looks like they've done a ton of work here on this. That's great. That's great. All right.
And so
basically trading. Oh, sorry.
They don't currently support Near. I want to be clear here. Collaborating with them and making that happen slowly but surely. But doesn't matter. Like these things are all going to be chain abstracted anyway. So go and experiment and absolutely work with OLAS. Like they're great.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Where do we want to jump next?
We could go to that. Well, we got Zeta Block is doing a bounty. We just did so Zeta Block. I'll make sure to put the link in the write up on this. They just did a whole AI office hours where they dove deep with Ilya and Alex and got really into it. So I mean, there's a whole like. You can watch that. Like if you're building in this hackathon, you can watch that stream, learn a lot, and then go from there. But Cameron, do you want to add a little bit to Zeta Blocks? Like I don't like.
Yeah, I love this team. They're awesome. They've got really good data, and anyone who likes AI, it all starts with data. So if you want to, let's say they have this bounty here, build a blockchain live news digest agent. Ask AMA. So pretty much have an agent that is able to answer any question that you have about a protocol, like what chain has the highest volume in the last 5 minutes. This is like real time. This is really cool, especially if you're trying to do like arbitrage, like real time arbitrage. Again, there's like many ways that you can take this. You can do like hardcore trading agents with the Zeta Block because they have real time data, or you can do more like historical analysis. Like, pull me up every point in time in which the Polymarket polls went from 100% and the next day went to 5%, and like what happened in those days. and like what were those switches? How many times has that actually happened in the U.S. political, any poll tagged politics across this period of time? And create agents around this. Like, this is really neat, and actually I think tells a really cool story about just society at large. If Polymarket continues to grow, which actually it will. Not financial advice, not legal advice. Do not take anything what I say for but it's cool, and you can use their data to do these things. Fraud detection, holy crap, huge. Imagine all the wallets who get rugged, and what we can do if we were just say, hey, like, you're interacting with a wallet that has rugged in the past, or it has received the vast majority of money in that account came from a wallet that has rugged. Like, this is really important to keep this industry safe.
Yeah.
Well, and I was thinking, like, because a project that's already building can build in this hackathon. They can add things to their project in the hackathon. You can be building like on Polygon and do something with chain abstraction and win a bounty in this hackathon, right? You can add an AI agent. So like that would be something interesting where you could add an AI agent for your project, especially if you're dealing with anything on the back end, and you could source some data that way. I think that fraud protection is really cool. Maybe find a way to say, like, this wallet is like, you could almost have like a score ranking with the wallets, and if the AI agent deems it to be like a grade D versus a grade A or something, it could be cool stuff to really use data to sort of parse out that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And if you have a project, you're kind of just adding to your project anyway with a hackathon.
Yeah. I mean, and for those who maybe missed it, you do not have to start with a fresh project for this, so you can continue to build on your current project as part of the hackathon. So integrating solutions like this, I think, again, what's been impressive, every website we've pulled up has been full of resources. The documentation's all there. This is great. This has data recipes. It has some pre-built APIs already. Extensive documentation. There's no reason why you shouldn't at least check this out to see if it fits into your project. And now, maybe you're submitting an AI project all of a sudden. So, very cool.
Yeah. Should we bring up QuestFlow? Because I want to know, Cameron, so this AI, okay, so when you start getting into AI, like, there's like 4 stages of AI, right? Like, you first time you see it, it's like magic. Then you start to get into like oh, this is making me a 10x better like person. You start, stacking subscriptions. Then that next stage, you're like, whoa, all right. And this is where I think like sort of this multi-agent world gets, where you start to have some real questions. Like, okay, in theory, it's going to be like, I'm going to have a clone agent that will then talk to agents, and I won't even talk to the agents, and then stuff like that. Are we at that space yet in AI, or is this more early stage? This is your AI executive assistant. There you go, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that is the goal. And their goal is to get more people to build these agents that do this well and can kind of perform certain functions. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so there's $2,000 on the table for anyone who builds the best agent for QuestFlow. Like, this is so broad. Like, everyone should submit for this. And also, by the way, they have like, it's Web 2 pretty much. Like, they have like Zapier connections, and so you can get as creative as possible. Like, oh, I need a, Airtable for every, I don't fucking know. Like, you can do so much. Like, look at all this stuff. I want to summarize every YouTube link, every YouTube video that mentions that is published by these universities that mentions formal verification using LLMs. Like, and you can pull from YouTube, you can summarize it, you can put it in Airtable, and I want to pay, some GitHub account. And actually, I love to see more. This is actually more like the potluck public goods side of things. But like Drips Network is a way to pay GitHub repos in crypto, where they can just like claim a certain amount of whatever money gets donated to them at some point. And so I'd like to see this interaction.
Should we bring up the potluck as our final one for this?
Sure, yeah.
We could talk, because potluck.
Yeah, this team is awesome.
Cool team.
They just have ideas. Like, it's ideas and ideas and ideas and ideas. Because, as I was saying earlier, like, the whole point of crypto is to incentivize certain behavior, and there's a lot of behavior in the world that needs to be incentivized. So how do we create agents that like write RFPs very well, or identify a project that has provided a lot of value to the ecosystem that hasn't been rewarded yet based on certain sentiment? There's like just scroll down a little bit. Like there's so many ideas that this team has taken the time to write out. Like,
oh, whoa.
Yeah, no, it's
all, yeah.
Dude.
Like massive agents. Like we're literally handing things on a silver platter to you, like the developers here that want to build. It's very, very, very strict.
This agent thing, I mean, I know, like, there's Web3 and there's agents, and I think there's a definite strong intersection because I think, crypto is the currency of AI, right? Like you're saying, like these agents there's gonna be an AI commerce economy going on behind the scenes that we'll all never as humans even know that's going on, and they're going to be transferring value back and forth in ways that like we can't even comprehend. Right? And so I think this is like really cool because as these AI agents start getting made and people start understanding that you can get value from them, I just think it's going to start to take off. Like anything, it's like early days of any social networking is going to get replaced with agent networks, right? Like,
and this team wasn't able to list a bounty for this hackathon this time around, but they're called Nevermind. They are awesome. You were talking about AI commerce. I think there's a whole company building around this. And
big fan of Nevermind team.
Yep, this is going to be very, very lit. So yeah, give that a look. They're not listing a bounty this time around, but they're awesome. Keep your eye on them.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other AI projects people keep their eye on that they could think about, and then we can wrap it up. How's that sound for everyone?
I mean, there's a lot, but Joe, are you going to say something?
No, I just real quick on the potluck thing. Again, DevHub Live episode 18. If you search for that at YouTube, you can see Plug break it all down. We go through the ideas, talks all about how it actually can be built, why, all that stuff. So, and again, it's right there for you if you need an idea to jump right into it.
Awesome. All right, so Cameron, any last things that you want to share before we kind of close it
out? So tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific, we'll be running, honestly, a very similar workshop to this, but with a lot of the founders from these other teams. And so I dropped a Luma here in our shared chat. We have representatives from Zeta Blocks, representative from Metapool, Nevermind, Potluck. We're all hanging out in a Zoom for about an hour and a half with an amazing community called 100x Devs. And this is all happening tomorrow. So feel free to join. It's generally kind of private, but whoever has stayed this long is welcome. So
well, what I'll do is I'll do a recap on this because we'll post the link. I don't know. We'll talk because I'll just drop the link in like a post. But if you want it to be kind of private, let's talk.
Yeah, we need to work on permissioning so no one Zoom bombs. That's the main thing.
You just have like 1,500 people show up to this. That'd be awesome. But
there will probably be hundreds of people. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. So Joe, anything that you want to kind of like share with some devs to like wrap it up as well?
No, really, I think, we covered a lot. I mean, again, this is a great example of how much flexibility you have in this hackathon. Don't be scared of AI. There's a lot of good stuff to do with it and build with it. We're promoting it in the DevHub Lives as well. And yeah, keep asking questions, keep reaching out. Everybody here wants to help, and everyone's new in building, so don't be shy about any of this stuff.
Cool. Cameron, anything? Last words?
No. Follow me on Twitter, I guess. It's Cameron_Dennis. Yep.
Nice.
And that's
Love it.
Shout out.
Awesome. And then I'll just say, just make sure like the things I take away from this from a non-dev perspective is one, it's definitely, you've got plenty of time to do bigger projects, Joe, like you said, but then also if you want to get into the like AI agent hacking aspect of this, you've got more than enough time to even start. Two, if you currently have a project on another chain, you can add to it and do stuff on this. So that's also okay. You can have a current project and still enter and add to that project with like chain signatures or some chain abstraction aspect or AI agents, right? And then I think the third one is that the DeFi aspect of AI agents is really interesting. Cameron, thank you for shouting that out. The data aspect. And those are the main things that I get. And well, thank you guys for joining. And until next time, tomorrow, do the bit Dev Hub Teach Me and also Cameron's event as well. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day and see you soon.